The severe weather shelter is something that the city has been working on with the last year at the McClellan Arts Center, and it was run by Salvation Army. The city then again this year looked at McClellan Arts Center as an option. We did meet with the county, and then it ended up being that Longview and the McClellan Arts Center was our best bet. We do have full funding that was provided by KMLA, and so this is not taxpayer funded outside of the facility. And so with our partners, it is funded outside of taxpayer dollars, but the city also can't run it. And so we wanted to put out a request for proposals for someone to come and operate the facility. So we would have it, but that we would have a partner in that program. So the timeline with that is so when we talk about timing, we put out an RFP back in July. So July 21st, we opened it, and 8/21, it was closed, and we received no applicants. So we did a big reach out, and I think this is why we talk about some of the partners that are going to be working with Love Overwhelming. We reached out to our partners, and we reached out to our churches to see if there was any interest. We were doing a big push to see if there was anybody out there who was interested. So then in September, we opened it up on 9/9 and closed it on 9/30, and we did receive one applicant, Love Overwhelming. We went through a review process looking at the criteria that was in the RFP against the proposal that was provided. Because of how it weighed, we moved it forward, and we had an interview with the applicant, staff with an extra F, and our council members. So 3 of our council members were involved in that conversation. And we were able to ask some of those difficult questions, some of the things that people have talked about tonight. And we were able to move that forward. And so at that point, we negotiated a professional service agreement. And so what that looks like, the severe weather shelter happens when a forecast is over or under 33 degrees for more than 2 days. The city manager declares a cold weather event, and the shelter can become open. And so in that public service agreement, Love Overwhelming has agreed to manage the day-to-day operations. We will have a sergeant who will be involved in that, but we are trying to be, with our resources that we have, as hands-off and partnering as possible. They will provide trained staff at all times when the shelter is open, with a minimum of 2 staff members, but up to 8 to 10 volunteers at a time. They're going to submit weekly reports. And so this is actually a big conversation that we had with Love Overwhelming. We want more information. Who are we actually serving in our cold weather shelter? What are some of the metrics? Because we know that it's not always homeless. We do have seniors. We have low income. And so it's more of getting a better understanding of where those critical needs are. And so they've agreed to provide those metrics outside of things that are HIPAA related. And they're going to maintain the adherence to city codes of conduct, good neighbor agreements, and harm reduction standards, as well as they're going to be in charge of the facility, maintaining all of the fencing, everything around the facility, and then making sure we've got a cleanup in the morning. And then we will be doing review of expenditures and revenue, or no revenue, but expenditures that are pertinent to the PSA. And so they have agreed to those. So tonight I'm bringing you the professional service agreement with Love Overwhelming, and Chuck is here for questions or any information you have about his application or his program operations.
Go ahead. So harm reduction, what does that mean to us? Again, we want to serve people right where they are, right in the middle of, if they are in active addiction, if they are experiencing severe symptoms of mental illness. Doesn't mean we want them to stay there. It doesn't mean that we allow drugs on property. It doesn't mean that we allow people to use drugs on property. It's that we want to give people access to different, the least restrictive alternative solutions to be able to get that recovery and the services they need within the community. Mayor, council members, I appreciate the time. The council members that were on the recommendation committee, having and asking those hard conversations and questions. And one of them that came up that I do want to address, a couple of them, is bringing people into our community from other communities. You heard that we had volunteers in the past. No, we didn't operate in 2024, the severe weather shelter, but you heard that there were volunteers that were coming from other counties, other places to come and do that. That does not happen that we see in regards to people who are experiencing homelessness. We are not going out and bringing people in. And that was one of the conversations that we have. That does nothing. That helps us in no way. We get no extra money for that. That's not even a thing. In fact, that would actually be detrimental to us because it would overload us. That's something that we've learned a lot throughout the past years. That goes into our ARC model that we've developed. And it's accountability, recovery, and community. We are very transparent. We have no problem. At any point, if any of you any of the community members would like to get a hold of me, our team, our board members, we are very open and very willing to sit and meet with you guys.